I want to welcome the GMs and the wives, the godly men and the warm, inviting, feminine, empathetic women out there. You godly people of mysterious qualities, you are unlike anything that they've ever seen. And in the Bible, it does say that God's people are a peculiar people. But I also want to read this verse that says, "A true witness delivereth souls, but a deceitful witness speaketh lies." And that's Proverbs 14:25. And that is one of the ways that you can discern whether or not somebody is actually of a godly quality or not. You see, there are many people that are claiming to be in the truth or claiming to know God or claiming to have a relationship with God. But if God doesn't know you, then what you're doing is actually, what would you say? It's actually a false set of principles and reality that you're setting up for yourself to fall deeper into delusion and completely out of spiritual discernment. Many people are not going where you're going, ladies and gentlemen, and you have to accept this. And I understand that this is one of the harsh realities of life in many ways, because we don't want to leave people behind sometimes, especially if we've been with these people for a long time. They know you, whether it's friends or family that you've known for years. Sometimes leaving that kind of stuff behind is very difficult, but if you want to deliver your own soul, you have to be willing to be living what the truth is and living that truth out as if it were true, because it was true and because it is true. And if there's no other implications in there that you're going to see, that you're going to falter to, then that's going to be the narrow path for all intents and purposes. When you are orienting your life to ensure that the truth is being acted out, that's where you're on the path. And a lot of you guys are really a mysterious group of people. You know, this is something that I've talked about previously in my channel a while back, but your godly mysteriousness is perplexing to some of these people. And it's because what you are and who you are not necessarily the same thing, because who you are is something that is completely different than what you are. Right? What we are is more of our titles or what we do exactly. But who we are is something completely vast and completely eternal. And it's only in establishing the understanding of the eternalities of life, in which we understand that we don't actually understand it, is when we get the wisdom and the insight that is necessary for us to thrive forward and to project ourselves into the future with zest and vigor. If you do not have zest and vigor as you move forward in your life, there's going to be a semblance of misinterpretation to reality. There's going to be a harsh level of delusion, and you might be thinking that you're freeing yourself when in reality you're actually just completely losing yourself. So many people, when they are on the spiritual path and they're actually trying to grow closer to God, they can sometimes fall into this category of their own, in their own mind, in which they place themselves in a box that's called no labels. And they don't realize that by placing themselves in that box is actually limiting yourself, all because they don't want to limit themselves to a title. But what they're missing is that your title is not who you are. If you can discern between what you are and who you are, then there's really no problem. And so that's one of the reasons why you're so mysterious as a godly person, is because people can't discern what you are and who you are. You know what you are and who you are. If you are progressing in your life and you are on that spiritual path, you are very much aware of the dichotomy and the juxtaposition between the two. But if there's no juxtaposition and there's no two sides of the same coin per se, if it's just like a flat coin with no back, then there is going to be a lack of understanding and a increase of sorrow and an increase of misinterpretation to knowledge as well, because knowledge is something that you can either hearken unto or you cannot. And you might have all of the knowledge that you can possibly have, but are you doing anything with that knowledge? Are you applying what you are and who you are to that knowledge, or are you just applying what you are, or are you just applying who you are for that knowledge? If you have certain amounts of knowledge available to you, but you're not doing anything vast with it, then are you really doing anything at all? Are you really doing anything that is going to increase your odds for longevity, for nutrition, for health, for well-being? Are these things actually something that is going to be going on in your life or not? And that's a question that really only you can answer by growing closer to God. And there's going to be a lot of haters. There's going to be a lot of haters on this journey as well. A lot of people are going to try to play games with you because they think that they can get a number on you, and they think that you're just like everybody else, because even though that you have this mysterious quality about you, it's almost like they still want to try to play games to see, again, if they can place you inside that box. And they might not even know that they're doing that. They might not even know that they're trying to place you inside certain boxes. But when they do that, again, they realize that they've actually just put themselves into a box. You might think that you flipped the box up and you stood on the box, but why is there still a box at all? This is what it like these kinds of metaphorical questions are where the truth seekers really start to understand me, and all of the people that are not listening to my words, because those that hear my words hear life, and those that are listening with the intent to put their own puzzle pieces of life together. What I'm saying here right now is meant for somebody. What I'm saying right here, right now, is meant for maybe you listening right now. It might not be, though. It might be somebody else. But there's always going to be something that is going to need to be heard whenever anybody speaks truth into being. This is one of the reasons why Alexander Solzhenitsyn, who wrote the Gulag Archipelago, and he was in the Russian concentration camps in the 1900s, he said that a tyranny can be brought down by one person telling the truth. I can't remember the exact quote off the top of my head, but I think he said man instead of person. But nonetheless, one person telling the truth can bring down a tyranny. And so when you speak the truth into being, that's what's going to happen, is people around you may not understand you. And if people aren't understanding you, that's probably a sign that you're going somewhere on the right path. Because if people are always understanding you and you're not being persecuted for righteousness' sake, because that's a verse in Matthew, right? That's the Beatitudes, where Jesus says, "Blessed are those that are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs shall be the kingdom of heaven," or something like that. Where is that? It says something. Blessed are those that are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. That is Matthew 5:10. And what exactly does that mean? It means that a lot of you guys, when you do go through things with your family or your friends, the people that you thought were supposed to be close to you, your relationships, if you're persecuted for righteousness' sake and you know that you're doing the right thing, you're not just doing the right thing for you. Whether you're man or woman, you are doing the right thing. You're not doing the right thing for you. You're not doing the right thing for anybody else. You're doing the right thing to just do the right thing. You have integrity. You can give yourself compassion, and you have a sense of urgency when you're moving forward with compassion with yourself. That's where you're going to be able to really allow yourself to broaden the horizon and broaden the scope of your reality in such a way that gives you a opportunity to, yes, you will be persecuted for righteousness' sake. And no student is greater than the teacher, but the student eventually grows beyond the teacher at one point in time. That is at least the hopes, right? But what that really means is it's not that the student grows beyond the teacher in such a way that the student is better than the teacher, but the student is an individual as well. And the student can see certain things that maybe a teacher might not have been able to put into existence in a way that could be seen by multiple people to be advantageous to the development of personality, not necessarily personality, the development of individuality. Personality is something completely different. Personality is not necessarily something that, like, you can have a lot of personality, sure, and that's great, that's fine, but women don't really need a lot of personality as far as, like, being loud and obnoxious goes. A woman that has a personality that is soft, that is calm, that is, again, the warm, inviting, feminine, empathetic, they're not loud and obnoxious. They're not all over the place. They're not everywhere. They are just nurturing. A woman that is not capable of nurturing is no woman at all. And a man that is not capable of a vision is no man at all. A man without a vision is like an eagle without sight. How could you possibly move beyond that? There is no moving beyond that. Because how is a eagle supposed to hunt and provide for its family and to see clearly miles ahead if there is no sight? And a woman that cannot nurture is a woman that cannot be a mother. And if a woman is incapable of being a mother, it's not necessarily that she's useless, but motherness or motherhood qualities, you could say, are essential for the vitality of the society. And so if you're a woman that is actually having and possessing those nurturing qualities, you might not see the significance where all of the women right now are hot girl summer, right? Hot girl summer. Everybody's like, it's just wild. It's just wild to see sometimes. I was traveling the last couple of days recently, and some of the things that I've seen out and about, I was just appalled. I was wondering whether or not we were actually out in public anyway. At one point, I'm like, we're like outside in the midst, right? Like, this is, people are just so perverted and obnoxious and really deluded, and so many people are in the face of pathological susceptibility, so much so that they don't even see that what they're doing is inhibiting their growth. And then they're claiming to not be insignificant. It's just mind-blowing sometimes. But anyway, it's a bit beside the point, but you guys understand where I'm coming from and what we're seeing if you've gotten this far in the video, because you probably resonated with everything that I've said so far. So yes, your godly mysteriousness is going to be something that a lot of people are not going to be able to handle. And it's not because that you're trying to be overbearing, but the men that are godlike savages, those godly men that have a vision, that know where they're going, that know how they're going to get there, have the mindset of we run this shit. That's the kind of men that are going to be persecuted for righteousness' sake. And the women that are persecuted for righteousness' sake, those kinds of women are going to be the women that want to have a family. Those are going to be the kinds of women that want to nurture. Because we live in a frickin' backwards clown world society. And the best thing that we could possibly do to change is to be open-minded enough to communicate with these people for the sake of correction, because in the Bible it also does say that evil communication disrupts good manners, or something like that. It's in Proverbs. I don't remember the exact. Somebody can probably get a scripture on that, but bad communication does disrupt good manners and destroys good manners, something along those lines. And I'm paraphrasing there, but we need to communicate for the sake of correction or for exposing the lies and exposing the evil. That's what it is. And that's what my goal is to expose the lies and empower people that are actually godly to prosper, that actually have discipline, that actually have value to offer. It's not necessarily that anybody is useless. Everybody's got something to offer. But sometimes it's just a harsh lesson. And with that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful. And until next time, peace be with you.